So here, I work here at Copyright, and we, for a long, long time, use Capistrano, and we find that it's very slow on larger projects. One of our largest ones, it would take probably a good 15, 20 minutes to actually deploy with the compiling of assets and everything. So as we see here, arbitrarily.io is forbidden. I've already set up the server, so Apache setup, passenger, all that stuff. We're going to be using Mina. So to actually get started with Mina, it's pretty simple. Cheat so Mina and Mina config. Yeah, you can tell I went through this before. Mina config is a gem that I've made that has more functionality to Mina itself. I'll walk you guys through that in a little bit. So right now, I'm going to do a partial install, and it's going to be nice and fast. So first things first, I haven't set up my remote source. So with Mina, I do Mina init. And it says, hey, I created a deploy RD file, edit this file, so we're going to go edit it. And this is what it actually generated. What you can see here, the normal way you set this up is you set your domain, the folder structure you want to actually deploy it out to, the repository that your project is in, and the branch. The other thing you get in here is shared paths, so when you actually deploy out there, you don't have to change your database YAML every time, log. There's also some people use public folders for like paperclip uploads and stuff like that. So you just add it in here and it'll generate those folders for you. See, instead of environment, what it'll do is actually go out there, touch your shared log, your config, your database YAML, and any other ones you need. Then the actual deploy, we'll do a git clone. These are all Mina built-in functionality. You can add more yourself, and I'll show you that. Git clone, it'll link the shared paths, do a bundle install, it'll migrate your database to your precompile, and then it'll touch restart. So it'll actually restart faster for you. So right now we're going to do a Mina. Actually, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to add Mina config. So this is Jim I threw together. We use multiple environments for everything. So we have a demo or staging environment, we have production, a couple of them actually 3 or 4 environments that we deploy to, or a couple of different production ones. What Mina config gives you is we can run Mina config in it and ask you, okay, what's my app name? So I'm using right now is TRR. And domain for staging. I'm not going to be deploying the staging environment, so this is just going to be for there. And for production, let's see, domain. So what that did was it created another deploy file. So it created a YAML file with all your settings in here. You can add more to it. Mina config will actually be this every single time you go to run a command. So you can add as many as you want in here. These are just the ones that are on by default. I've got one project I was playing with that I just added 15 in here. So it's deploying out to 15 different servers. That's fun. So to actually set up your folder structure out on the server, you need to do Mina setup. Normally, what you would do is that would go to the default staging, the default environment that's configured inside Mina with the set. What we have added to Mina config is I can do Mina production. So, and it's actually going to reach out to the server via SSH. Sorry. So I use RVM, so I need to add RVM. Environment variable. So I gave the path to RVM. I gave it forward agent, which uses my SSH key on that server. So when it actually reaches out to GitHub, it uses my SSH keys. And then the term mode system, if you want to interact with the terminal at all inside Mina, you got a system, the nice and pretty one that they give you doesn't actually allow you to do input. So what this did was it created one SSH connection, which if you ever use Capistrano, it does a different SSH session for every single command it runs. So it gets very slow. You can see what it did is it actually went out to the server and created some files for me. This is the server there. You can see I have a folder TR. and inside of it I have releases and share. So there's nothing actually inside those yet because I haven't deployed my app. So next thing I want to do is set up my database YAML, and because I don't really want to go out to the server and do it myself, some people hate them, I've created a Mina task for it. And what this basically will do is it touches the database.yaml file for you, and then it'll do ask you for your inputs on everything. And then actually I wrote a modification to string for DDET to actually get the YAML configuration correctly. So we'll do that. So, name for my database, user I want, and my nice secret password. So give that a second, it's reaching out to the server. It's going to create the database YAML for me. Oh, I did not. Oh, my bad. So, since I want to go to the production server, I have to actually tell you to go to the production server. That also has. So, just got there, populated database YAML. See, it took 1 second. And now, if I actually look at the server, that database YAML. And if I have that, you can see it's got everything that I just put in there. Next up, we're going to deploy my app. So, we're going to do function. So this will take a second. Nice thing it does, it tells you your last Git commit that you are actually deploying out there. I've written a couple other Mina tasks. I'm going to make another gem for this that gives you some added things like you can query Mina for what was the last deployment that I made, the last commit. Also things along the lines of I feel like running Rails console or tailing the Apache log. So it's just Mina Apache log, and it'll tail the logs for you. Any logs you want. Same with the Rails, your production logs. Of course, bundling takes a little while. The nice thing that is built into Mina is it will not recompile your assets again if your assets do change. Capistrano does it every single time, so for a couple other utilities. So I'll demonstrate that in a minute. So, any questions so far? That's very exciting. This is a very, very empty app. So there's an index HTML bubble. This one, DigitalOcean. If you ever deployed a DigitalOcean, make sure that you give it swap space, because DigitalOcean does not run normal configurations.
What about the drop that it creates?
No swap. Nope. So yeah, you cannot install Passenger on it because 512 megs of RAM is not enough. So you can see my assets were fairly light. Compiled all the JavaScript and CSS file, and there's nothing actually in them. It also, by default, keeps the last 5 releases. So there's a command you can run it yourself, or you can set a variable to say I only want to keep 2 releases, or I want to keep 15. But we can go back to my server now, and hopefully see, hey, there's some content here. So we're going to quickly just change index. So I'm going to go ahead and just do another redeploy. It's going to go rubber again, of course, this time we shouldn't have a problem. Also, since my assets do technically change, it will do it again. You can see. Yeah, so that was my deployment, 9 seconds. And the nice thing is, if you're making small changes to things like controllers, models, things don't change that often, it's as long as it takes to pull it out of the Git repo for it to build it. Yeah, so you can see here, skipping asset recompilation, nothing changed. Nothing needed to. And there's a new page.
Did it skip migration?
Didn't even try. He knew that there were no new migrations, so he didn't even run it. So they did do bundle again, but it's really just music. Yeah, and then there's the message for the lesson there. So Mina config is available on GitHub right now, but actually I finally tested it, so I'll give it a check out there. It's automated. Any questions about Mina? It was a very fast hop. So. No. It's the true meaning of light. I'll be adding another one too. That's Mina. Well, yeah, some tech developers for all those other things that we found to be fairly helpful. Checking, okay, what is actually out on the server right now because something messed up the production.
I don't exactly have any questions, but thank you for providing it or introducing me to alternatives to Capstone.
Yeah, it's a little bit faster. The project that Alan and I work on quite a bit, anytime that you want to change, it's got a backbone front end. So you can with Capistrano pre-compiles assets every single time. It takes forever. Some of our deployments for 10 to 15 minutes. And now if you change controllers, it's 9 to 10 seconds.
All of the production deploys are 20 minutes.
Yeah, so Mina's made a world of difference for us. And actually, my original reason for switching away from Capistrano was to implement automated testing in the process, and this is the first step. It's Capistrano. Nothing else? Cool.